He might just be the next legendary running back from the University of Texas. Bijan Robinson is one of the most electric backs to ever come out of high school. All he did was break records and put up video game numbers. The most rushing yards in state history, over 7,000 of them things, and 114 touchdowns for another state record. Bijan ran for 2,000 plus yards 3 years in a row. He once ran for 500 yards in just 3 quarters. His rise to the top wasn't always a given though. When Bijan was born, he wasn't breathing right away. Luckily, everything turned out alright. Let's just say Bijan isn't taking football or his life for granted. He rocks number 5 like Reggie Bush, and kinda plays like him too. Bijan's a savage on the field, but one of the humblest guys you'll ever meet off it. This is the story of a star in the making. This is the real story of Bijan Robinson. Bijan was born January 30th, 2002. He grew up in Arizona with his mom, Lamore. She nicknamed him Smiley because that's all Robinson did as a kid. Bijan was a youngster who lit up the room. He just had that energy. Now football ran in the fam for real. His uncle Paul went pro in the 60s, and his grandfather had a huge influence on his childhood and football. Cleo was an all-state linebacker and even got to see Robinson's idol at USC, Reggie Bush. It was no surprise that when Bijan started balling out on the field, he was rocking Reggie's number 5. By the age of 1, he always had a Nerf football on him, but Robinson didn't really play too much till he was 10. His first game didn't start off too hot. Bijan had 2 amazing runs to start his young career, but they went the wrong way. He even scored for the other team. But that was the last time almost any defense would stop him. Bijan was electric in the backfield and looked primed for big things, but it wasn't always like that. When Bijan was born, he wasn't actually breathing for several minutes. Fortunately, everything ended up fine, but it was a long day for his fam. That's part of the reason why he was named Bijan. In Persian, it stands for hero. After that scare as a baby, who knew that this little kid was going to become a real hero on and off the field? By the end of his high school career, he would have earned that first name and made his last name proud. Bijan started high school in 2016 at Sal Point Catholic, and no surprise, made varsity as a freshman. Even with limited touches, Robinson did his thing. Over 600 yards and 6 scores, averaging over 11 yards a play. It was only a matter of time before Robinson would blow up. Bijan knew he could make a statement sophomore year, and he did just that. In the fall of 2017, he ran for over 2,000 yards and had 30 tutties. Not even Christian McCaffrey was doing that at 15. Sal Point will win 12 games and go deep into the playoffs. But for the second year in a row, they wouldn't come up with a state ring. While Bijan was focused on continuing to improve his craft, his college recruitment was taking off. Everybody was talking about number 5. Bijan got his first offer from Arizona in 9th grade. It always means a lot when your home state is your first offer. But not long after he heard from U of A, Bijan picked up more from some monster programs: Texas, Alabama, LSU, and Ohio State. It wasn't too long before he had over 20 offers. USC, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma. Everybody wanted Bijan. With so much attention, this decision was going to be tough for real. Bijan's coach had colleges visiting him just about every day. Despite all this, Robinson kept a pretty low profile on Twitter and IG. This guy had no ego and just felt blessed to be in this position. Bijan wouldn't end up deciding on a school until right before his senior year. In the meantime, he wanted to keep getting better and show he was as good as any player in the nation. Junior year, Bijan did just that, and then some. 2,400 rushing yards and 36 touchdowns. That's elite, bro! Sal Point won 13 straight, but ultimately got bounced from the playoffs. By the end of year 3, it was so clear that Bijan was just different in the backfield. Coaches in Arizona would talk about how they've never seen someone be able to cut back the way he does at his size, or how Robinson can just stop and start on a dime. Several coaches said Bijan was the best back they'd ever seen in high school. He's got insane vision and reads the game so quickly on the fly. Bijan is really that dude. He once missed the team bus because he had so many autographs to sign. No way Bijan was dipping until he got to meet everyone. Now as 2018 turned into 2019, his recruitment was about to get settled. Texas loved him from day one. And he even got to meet famous actor Matthew McConaughey that spring. But Bijan actually silently committed to The Ohio State. Robinson never announced it. But as the summer of 2019 wore on, it soon became clear he wasn't going to be a Buckeye. And on August 2nd, 2019, Bijan announced where his heart was telling him to go: Texas. It just felt like family, and they really believed in him. Robinson was mad focused to help take Texas back to the top. But first, he had one more year of high school with his brothers. The 6-foot, 200-plus pound Bijan was going out with a bang. It didn't end in a state ring, but the future Longhorn had one of the best senior years of any back ever. Over 2,500 yards and 42 touchdowns. Sheesh, little bro. He even had one game with almost 500 yards and 6 scores, most of which all happened in just the first 3 quarters. I mean, what? Bijan was so impossible to stop in high school that teams would almost celebrate if he only got 6 or 7 yards on a carry. He almost had 18 yards per rush, and nearly 1/3 of his runs ended in touchdowns. Bruh. When high school was officially over, Bijan had made some serious history.
Best running back in the nation. Come on.
Come on.
Arizona's big school all-time leader with 114 touchdowns and 7,036 rushing yards. He was the #1 ranked back, a 5-star All-American and a 2-time Arizona Player of the Year. Robinson was also the first player to rush for over 2,000 yards 3 years in a row. On December 18th, he officially signed with Texas. Bijan then got to play in All-American games in San Antonio and Hawaii. He really might be the best high school player to ever come out of AZ. And the thing about Bijan is he's that guy, on and off the field. He wants to build a platform like LeBron, make a difference, and used to give out clothes to the homeless back in high school. Now that's love. You just won't find too many guys like Robinson. On June 4th, 2020, Bijan had graduated high school and moved on to campus in Austin. It was time to get to work. Let's go! The dopest thing about his arrival was getting to keep his number 5. About to make Reggie Bush proud, even at Texas. Now the Longhorns were loaded at running back, so Bijan had to bring it every day. In the summer of 2020, he went viral for an insane catch at camp. Then, on September 12th, the true freshman made his college debut against UTEP. He picked up 45 yards, including a run for 29. Yeah, Bijan was on the map. In late September, he took a scary fall, but luckily was alright. On October 31st, Robinson helped the Longhorns knock off number 6 Oklahoma State. A week later, he went for 100 yards for the first time, putting in work against West Virginia. He was just a true freshman, earning mad carries for a huge program. But Texas's new number 5 saved his best for last. In the final regular season game against K-State, Bijan went off. I mean, all the way off. Over 200 yards and 3 scores. That's some Reggie Bush numbers right there. And most freshmen don't even get to play right away. Bijan was already getting compared to Texas legend Ricky Williams. Now Texas didn't make the Big 12 title game, but it's safe to say the kid from the desert had his coming out party in year 1. In Texas's bowl game win over Colorado, Robinson had 220 yards and 3 scores. That gave him the most yards per rush in one season in Texas history. Now that's how you end your freshman campaign. When you think about what Bijan's done through just 1 year of college, it's crazy to think about what he might do in years 2 and 3. One of the best backs to ever come out of high school, no cap. Straight Arizona legend, on and off the field. Bijan looks destined for big things in the Big 12 and beyond. Maybe even a Heisman. And we can't wait to see what he does as a sophomore in 2021. It's been your favorite storyteller, OT Cambo. I gotta get out of here and watch some more overtime. Later. You know the vibes, fam. Listen, the drops don't stop and neither do the blessings. If you want to get drippy like your boy, you know you do, all you gotta do is click the link over here. Also, don't forget to subscribe this away and check out more fire videos over here. You know what it is. It's the O way or no way.